Welcome to the Inspire Life podcast. My name is Michael. I am your producer and co-host, and today we're talking about a topic that for me is really important, for a lot of my clients is very important, for a lot of our practice members at Inspire Life is very important, for anyone listening to this as a human is very important, and that is movement. Whether you want to call it fitness or exercise, what this is really going to come down to is not only what movement is, not only why it's important, but how you, whoever's listening, can start moving and moving in a way that's going to benefit you and help you continue to live or start to live more of a thriving and inspired life. And to get started, a great place to start with movement is why it is so important to move and to exercise on a daily basis. Movement is something that has a lot of profound effects for human physiology, for not only our physical body that we see, not only muscles, not only for the gains, right? But when it comes to our brain health, when it comes to our circulatory system, when it comes to really every system in the body, exercise and movement is essentially imperative. So one really cool thing about movement that a lot of people don't know about, that's, I'm not going to say it's not well advertised, but not well known, is that movement can have a lot of great effects when it comes to mental and emotional health. There's been research conducted that shows that moving your body at 65% of your max heart rate for 3 times a week for 30 minutes. So one way that you can measure your max heart rate would just take 220 minus your age. So for me, that would be 192. If you don't want to go do a VO2 max test, which I wouldn't recommend doing. I've never done it. Dr. Mel has talked about it in other talks, but you have to put on a mask and run uphill, and it's just very draining. 65% of your max heart rate 3 times a week for 30 minutes at a time can have similar effects that a lot of antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication can have. Literally, by moving more, we can do things to help our physiology and help our mental and emotional health. That's powerful. Another reason why movement is so important is this idea of metabolism, of metabolic function. As human beings, we are constantly intaking and changing and doing new things. And metabolism is a big part of that. We are intaking energy, we are processing the energy, and then we're eliminating waste and getting rid of it. So moving daily, moving on a consistent basis helps our metabolism stay higher. And a lot of times people talk about metabolism when it comes to weight loss, and often we forget that metabolism is a function, is a chemical exchange that is a constant for us as human beings, that the higher it is, the more we are able to intake, process, output, the more efficient we are just going to work as human beings. So a lot of great reasons, beyond just gym gains, as why we should continue to move. So with that, there's a lot of different ways to move. And one of the ways that I approach movement is the law of inertia, law of physics, right? That a body in motion stays in motion. So this is actually getting back to why to move. People who continuously move throughout their whole life, people who are able to build and retain muscle mass, there is research that shows that this is very important for healthy aging. So many reasons to move, right? Remember, at the end of the day, movement is inertia, and a body in motion stays in motion unless a force is acting upon it. We have many forces acting upon us every day. If we can keep moving, we're going to be able to mitigate some of those forces and continue to move longer. So building off of that, like I said, there's a lot of different ways to move, a lot of different options and choices. I'm recording this right now during the stay-at-home order in Minnesota. So gyms are closed. Can't go to the gym. Doesn't mean you can't move. Doesn't mean you can't do resistance training. Doesn't mean you can't build muscle. When it comes to movement, the most important thing you can do is just move. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that At the end of the day, movement is movement, right? And to think about this, let's think about, there's a term called METs, which I have my notes here. A MET is 3.5 millimeters of oxygen per kilogram being metabolized within our system. So for example, you can rate the intensity of workouts in METs. So one MET would be sitting on the couch doing nothing. And sitting on the couch watching TV would be like 1.2 METs. And sitting down and reading would be like 1.5 METs. And if you can get up to, like 3 or 4 METs for an extended period of time, your metabolism is going to spike, and it's going to have a lot of great effects for you and your physiology and your body. So to get to that point, there's so many different things you can do. For example, walking at about 4 miles per hour will increase your heart rate, increase your metabolism, and get you up to 4 METs. So if you can go on a brisk walk every day, I say this all the time with my clients, walking is one of the most, if not the most underrated form of exercise as a human being. I understand that being able to walk is being able-bodied privileged, right? But if you can walk, just go and walk. That's one of the easiest ways you can do it. There are a lot of obviously different ways you can move your body, push-ups, pull-ups, bodyweight squats, lunges, abs, those are all more on the resistance side, and we can get that a little bit deeper into that later in this episode. But the biggest thing is that, a lot of times when it comes to movement, we have this kind of all or nothing perspective. And I've talked about this before, but dropping that all or nothing perspective, right? Like when I talk about it, nutrition and food, like just because you have a piece of cake doesn't mean that the whole day is out the window. Well, with the all or nothing thing, just because you can't go to the gym and get an hour and a half like workout in with doing, whatever it may be, barbells and deadlifts and stuff, doesn't mean you can't still move, doesn't mean you can't still do things that are gonna help you out and raise your metabolic rate and raise your heart rate and get your body cycling through, right, doing this chemical reaction metabolism. So just get creative. Find different ways to move, understand that all or nothing isn't real, and if you can stop your day for maybe if you have 5 or 10 minutes and maybe do some push-ups or just go for a small walk, that can all add up throughout the day, right? Like if you go on 4 separate 10-minute walks, you're still moving that much throughout the day. Now there may be something to be said about building cardiovascular endurance and not necessarily working on that end of things, but just being able to move and just moving in and of itself. All movement at the end of the day is going to help your metabolism. It's going to help you keep moving. So building off of that, and this is something that Dr. Mel and I are really, really trying to talk with our practice members about, and especially if anyone's trying to start moving more, is what do you enjoy doing? Like me personally, I love biking. I was gonna go with the negative first. I'm gonna start with positive. I love biking. I just bought a new mountain bike like 3 weeks ago. I think I've already put in close to, if not over 300 miles on it. Like I've been biking to the office every day. Yesterday I went for like a 56-mile bike ride. I love riding my bike. And in the summer, I also enjoy playing golf. So when I golf, I walk instead of taking a cart. That's another way I can just get more movement in. I love going on hikes. I like building forts with my girlfriend and her kids. That's something that takes a lot of work. We're picking up big sticks and moving. I love being outside. And in the winter in Minnesota, it gets cold, but I love playing pond hockey. If you know me, just going out to a pond or a local park and skating around, taking some slap shots. That's all movement that for me, I love. And we know when it comes to movement, if you're doing something that you don't necessarily enjoy or look forward to, how sustainable is that going to be? Like my own experience, right? I always speak from my own experience. I dislike running. There is no part of my body or probably maybe even my soul that says, I want to go and run. Like that sounds terrible. That sounds like an awful idea. I personally have had knee surgeries and know that running can compromise my knee, like the heavy impact. But beyond that, even before I had knee surgeries, I've never enjoyed running. No ounce of my body enjoys going to run. In fact, I'll use a very strong word, like I hate running. No part of me wants to run. So there's no way I'm gonna go out and run for exercise. I love walking. which, those two, you can do running and walking in the same atmosphere, the same environment, right? If you don't like riding a bike, don't go for a bike ride. If you don't like going to the gym and doing a step class or Zumba class, don't go do a Zumba class. If you like going to yoga, go do yoga. All of this comes back down to the simple proponent that we as human beings are astronomically more likely to do things that we enjoy. So with that being said, experiment, figure out what you like. If you've never been to a yoga class, how will you know if you enjoy it? If you've never been to a spin class, you won't know if you enjoy it. If you've never gone and swam laps at a pool, you won't know if you actually enjoy it. So, not only finding what you enjoy and continuing to do that, but being able to do just that. Experiment with new things. Try new ways of moving. Maybe you want to go try Brazilian jiu-jitsu or CrossFit. Like, those are really intense types of workout. Like, have at it, give it a shot, obviously be smart and take into consideration, what your body is capable of doing, and know that if you go to those gyms too, there's always scaling options, right? Like, I've done CrossFit. I really love CrossFit. I would be a part of a CrossFit gym if it made more sense for me financially right now, which is a whole different story. But know that if you never try moving in a certain way, you won't know if you actually enjoy it, and you don't know what you're missing out on. So that's another big takeaway. Finally, when it comes to motivation with exercise, that's a big piece of it, right? Especially right now with the stay-at-home quarantine. A lot of people don't have the motivation to get up and get moving, right? It's not like, you can't just go to the gym and do the classes like we used to. I'll touch on that part in a second, but when it comes to motivation and working out, so often we are trying to motivate ourselves with the wrong things. So often we're trying to get our beach bodies ready for the summer. We're trying to, chase gains, and a lot of guys trying to get bigger arms and chest or whatever it may be. We're trying to get a six-pack to go to the beach. We're trying to slim down and we're working out to lose weight. This whole mentality about going out and moving to do something to lose weight or to change, that's stuff that, first off, it's far off in the future, even if that is a goal of yours, which there's nothing wrong with that being a goal, but it's not tangible in the moment. We're forgetting that when we do something like this, there is actually physiological and really cool changes that happen in the moment. So often we forget that, after maybe going and running some stairs, like, you get endorphins pumping through your body, and it just feels good to move, right? So instead of focusing and trying to find the motivation to exercise, that there's something wrong with you that has to change, or that you have to get ready for some certain thing, what if we just rather focus on how good it makes us feel in the moment? Because me personally, when I have an awesome at-home workout, or if I go and bike like 20 miles, when I'm done, I feel great. I feel great for many reasons, not just because I accomplished something that was a challenge, but I physically feel good in my body. And that's because there's endorphins being released every time we exercise and we move that make us feel good. It's a instant feedback loop, like, hey, this feels good, we should probably do this again in the future. So that's essentially what I have for you today. I mean, there's a couple big takeaways. One, the reason that we ought to move, and we do move, is because it's just good for our human bodies. We are bipedal beings made to move, so let's keep moving. Number two, understand that the all or nothing approach to movement is a facade per se. It's not real. Doing a little bit here and there will add up, and something is always greater than nothing. Okay. Point three, do what you love. If you like to go cross-country skiing in the winter, and maybe you want to try getting those like cross-country ski little, like, kind of, I'm talking about like the rollerblade things. That was not the best example. If you like going on hikes and being in nature, go on hikes and be in nature. If you dislike riding a bicycle, don't ride a bicycle. Don't even buy a bicycle. If you enjoy going to workout classes, go do that. And if you like the group kind of fitness aspect, Dr. Mel and I have really cool opportunities within the Inspired Living community on Facebook, where we're offering free workout classes every weekend to members of the group. So if you want to join, let me know. But that's the big thing, is find what you love that will get you moving and will keep you moving. And then finally, Number 4, when it comes to exercise and the motivation to exercise, focus on the here and the now. Focus on how you feel after you're done moving. Because during maybe isn't the most fun, but you get great feelings afterwards. And stick to those. Rather than trying to go and change or trying to lose weight or trying to get 6-pack abs or get Beachbody ready, that motivation is so far out that your linear working brain can't actually fathom that, and it seems like it might be too far out, so then you're not going to do it. Find the motivation and how you feel right after doing it. And that's what I have for today's episode. Please reach out, let me know, what are your favorite ways to move? Do you want to go hiking or play hockey with me? I love moving with people. I know right now we're supposed to social distance, but this isn't going to be forever. We'll get through this together, and continuing to move and make a point to address our bodies and do things to benefit our bodies throughout all this is going to be really important so that we can keep moving for the foreseeable future. So again, I'm Michael. Thank you for tuning into the Inspire Life podcast today. And as always, keep inspiring. Thank you.
Hey there, did you find value in today's episode? We sure hope so. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Also, hop on over to Facebook and join the Inspired Living community. There, Dr. Mel and I share health and wellness tips to help you live your most inspired and thriving life.
And as always,
keep inspiring.